What is up, survivors? Welcome back to another beginner guides episode. Okay, so in this one we're going to take a little bit of a step away from traveling around the map and focusing a little bit on doing some more building and crafting. So by now you're probably going to be somewhere between 20 and 30. You know, you're probably pretty close to that range by now. If you've gotten this much progression done, you've done some exploring, you've got your first thrall and some pets, you've been running around, you know, you're going to be somewhere between 20 and 30. And by then, you know, you're going to have pretty close to what I have in stats, you know, whatever combination you have. Obviously, I'm in my 30s. Because I'm 38, but that's only because I bumped up really fast. But there's a couple of things that you will be learning around this part of the game. And you probably already started diving into journeyman masonry, where you can start building out of the stone brick and stuff like that, which takes a little bit more advanced materials, which is kind of like your tier 2 buildings. That's going to have more health, more survivability, whether you're on PvP or PvE. You've probably unlocked the elevator by now, which is kind of, I mean, it's nice, but it's not really needed at this phase in the game, unless you are building a base up on top of a hill or a mountain. You need easy access back up. Palisades for defenses you can probably have unlocked, but for survivability, you're going to have like the grinder. I'm not going to touch dye right now. So you're going to have the grinder unlocked by now. You're probably going to have fishing unlocked by now. You're going to have the drying rack unlocked, probably close to, if you don't already have the fluid press unlocked. We're going to cover that today. We're going to cover a little bit of gardening potentially today. We're also going to cover the Tinker's Bench today, as well as making modifications to your armor and weapons. So you'll have to learn that. And then under armor, we're going to learn a little bit about, again, Tinker's Bench and applying modifications to your armor. And then under weapons, you're going to scroll down here all the way to the bottom, and you're going to have Apprentice Armorsmith, which is going to, Apprentice Weaponsmith is your modifications for your weapons and tools. And we're going to cover that as well too. I think I'm in creative mode right now. Yeah, let me get out of that. That is bad. Well, yeah, we don't want to be in creative mode, otherwise there's going to be things you guys are going to be confused about. And then a lot of these are just all DLC stuff and other kinds of stuff too. All right, so we're going to cover all that. We're also going to dive in and cover the clan stuff as well, because now that we have silk, so we're going to cover that as well too, and the treasure system, because we actually have our first piece of treasure. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something very bad. We're just going to skip to dawn. Okay, yeah, we're just going to do that. All right, so we're just going to ignore that, and we're just going to skip to dawn. All right, so now that it's, you know, the sun's up, guys, yay. I'm going to drink of water here. Now, I did an expansion onto my base behind the scenes. As you can see, I have a nice little section back here. Now, this does connect to the main part. Right here where my bed used to be, and it comes into the crafting area at the moment. But back here, it just wraps around. It's going to have like a small bedroom area, and then I set up a little area back here where we are going to set up our clan vault for this section of our base. And then obviously I have this door right here just for easy access going into the back. Then of course, like I said, we're going to talk about fishing today too, so this will give us quick, easy access down here to go over fishing. So let's talk about fishing. How do you fish in Conan Exile? Well, fishing pretty much hasn't changed since the day it came out, other than maybe a handful of features have changed over the years. So if you pull out your construction hammer, you'll find all of this kind of stuff. You got your clan stuff, and you know, you got your wells and all this. And then if you go to crafting stations and you go down to farming, this is where you're going to learn how to do farming as well, like planting, as well as fishing. So I just clicked on that one accidentally. So you have two different types of traps. You have fish traps and you have shellfish traps. Obviously they are two totally different types of traps. So let's cover this first. So for either of these, you're going to need shaped wood and twines. You need 10 of each per each of these. Now, I do highly recommend you build more than one. So let's go to the front of our base here real quick. I have been crafting and stockpiling shaped wood just for this type of occasion. We're going to just pull out 100 for now. And then we're going to go inside and grab about 100 twine. There we go. And then we're just going to go right back outside. We're going to open this up. And there we go. Now we can make 10 of each, but we're not going to. So, as you can see, you're trying to place these down. These are your fish traps, okay? And you're like, well, it's whited out. You can't place. And it's going to keep telling you invalid place location. Well, that's because they have to be placed in the water. Now, the cool thing is they don't have to actually be submerged. They just have to be touching water. So as you can see, it turns green and this lets me place it. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing it this way, but I just don't like doing it that way. I like to have mine a little bit submerged under the water for aesthetic purposes. And there we go. Now it's in the water. Okay, so how does it catch fish? Well, insects. But we're going to get into something about that here in a second. So now that you have your fish traps down, let's just say we're going to place 5 of these for now. So we're going to play 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you have your fish traps down and you need insects. So there are 2 ways of getting insects. Okay. One is you go out and take a sickle and harvest fiber. You're going to be getting insects from harvesting fiber. So let's see how that works out. Now, this is not the best way to do it. This is just one way to do it. So we're going to come over here and we're just going to go sickle, 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 sickle. And we're going to open up our inventory and there we go. We have 12 insects in our inventory. Not very many for, 4 or 5 bushes. Very time consuming actually. And we don't want that. We don't want that at all. But that's one option. Okay, so if you come over here, you take the bugs, you throw them in there, and right off the back, it starts crafting, quote unquote, catching 11 fish. Now you're going to get one of 3 types. One of them is the savory fish. The other is the unappetizing fish. And then there should be like the exotic fish that you can get as well. And it's like the most valuable. And all of these fish have a different use in the game. You can, like, we'll get to that when we talk about the fluid press, but that's one way to do it there for that. Okay, so next is the shellfish trap. Now, as you can see, the shellfish trap, it's not turning green at all. Well, why is that? Well, it's simple because these actually have to be placed underwater on flat ground. So there's 2 options. One, you can take it and you can dive down. So let's dive down here real quick. And when you get down here, it's, as you can see, it's struggling. It's like, ugh, well, where's the flat area for me to place one of these? It's just not letting you do it. So that could get really annoying. So you have to swim around, look for a flat spot, and boom, place it. And there you go. Now you finally have your shellfish trap down. Well, that's not fun. That means I have to swim all the way over here anytime I want to use that shellfish trap. Well, there is another option. You can build a fishing hut or a fishing house. Now, this is where I'm going to go into creative mode for this. And we're going to open up our inventory, go to building pieces, sandstone. So you can come out here, okay? And then you can be like, okay, we're going to place right about there. That should do it. And then we go there. And let's go out one more. So let's, build down a little bit, get underneath. If this thing's going to be funky, it's going to be funky. Of course it's going to be funky. It's not going to let us do that. Okay, so let's grab this. Get rid of this darn rock, because you swing slower underwater, so there is that. Now again, I'm in creative mode, so I'm not supposed to be losing oxygen, but whatever. My character seems to think I am. All right. There we go. We had to do some shenanigans to get that to place. And we're going to get rid of that. And then that gives us this. And then we go over here. We place that. And then we're like, oh, okay, so we got that. We're going to take this staircase. Place it right there. And we're going to do this. Get rid of that. Go, and then just open this up. I'm just going to build ourselves a nice little fishing shack. And then for this top layer, we'll do some windows. All right, and there we go, guys. We have a nice little fishing hut. So, boom. Like I said, we're going to just cheat it a little bit here, guys, so I can build it quickly. I do have the resources to make this, by the way, too. But, that's it. So you have a nice little fishing hut with a nice little, you know, light top. You know, let some sunlight in on the top and some light in on the sides. And you walk in here and you're just like, let me get out of creative mode now. And then you're like, okay, so again, then you go back in here, go to crafting stations, go to farming, and you've got this. So now you come in and you're like, there you go. Now they're green. So you got yourself a nice little spot to sit down your little shellfish traps. You know, stick like 4 of them in here. If it lets me. It's being a little funky. We'll just stick them like this on the sides. Like that. And then we put away our hammer. Oh, and as you can see, the fish are all in here now, and we've got 3 of the exotic fish, 6 of the unappetizing fish, and that's 3 of those. And we can take them out. And then we can grab the... Whoop. Ah, well, I guess I'll just, you know, pick them up here real quick and then replace them inside. But as you can see, these ones, the fish traps, can be in really shallow water, almost no water, where the actual crab trap or the shellfish trap have to be submerged underwater. Then you just come in here, place a couple of these in here. Yeah, this one's being funky. And there you go. So now you have all your lovely little traps inside of a nice little hut where they can't be disturbed by other players. You know, let's say you're playing on a server that has open containers. This will allow you to keep your traps safe, at least remotely safe from other players. Okay, so now that we're done with that, for the moment, because I'm going to show you guys how to get a hold of the other type of food for your fish traps and stuff, and that comes from the compost bin. So we're going to come over here and we're going to grab some more shaped wood. So I'm going to grab another. I'm just going to grab 90 just to cap us off. And then I'm going to open up this and we're going to grab the compost heap. Okay, so now you got yourself your compost heap. And so you're going to come over here. You're going to grab your compost heap. We're going to place one compost heap there and one compost heap here. Now you could do something fancy where you stack them and have them look all pretty and get like 5 high. You know, you can do the whole arc trick, you know. Yeah, you can do that. But you can do that here as well. And then you come here and you need bone meal, and you need spoiled meat, and you need fiber. So we're going to take about half of that fiber we have, and we're going to stick it in here. And we're going to stick the other stack of fiber, and we're going to stick it in here. Okay. Now we're going to go get the grinder. So we're going to build our first grinder. Now, grinder is pretty easy to build because I believe all we need is stone for the grinder. And that's going to be under general, I believe. Yes. No, we don't need stone. Sort of need stone. We need 50 brick and 10 branches for the grinder. Okay. So we need 50 brick. So we should have plenty of brick. So we'll just get 50 brick. There we go. And then we need 10 branches, which we'll get that from here. There we go. 10 branches. So that gives us our lovely grinder. And then we'll just stick our grinder right over here next to our armor's bench. And then you walk up to it. And then basically you just put bone in here of any kind, and you can grind it up to make bone meal. Okay, so we're going to come over here to our box where we know we've got a nice chunk of bone and fangs as well, because those do count as well. Okay, and we're going to come over to our grinder. We're going to throw the fangs and the bone in here, and it's going to grind all that up into lovely bone meal. So I'm just going to grab that now. Okay. And we're also going to grab some of the spoiled meat because I'm pretty sure we have some in here. Awesome, we do. We have 6, so we can split it evenly. And then you're going to come back over here to your compost heap. Okay. We're going to split that there and split this here. And as soon as you put it in, it's going to start creating compost in there. And then we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to go boom and boom. And that's going to start making compost right away. So it takes 2 rotten flesh to make 1 compost. Okay. So once it's done making compost, all right, this will last forever once there is 1 in here. Okay. Because it doesn't have a spoil timer. So the second you have 1 compost in here, and you have to have 1 in here at all times, you'll notice that it fills up. It has dirt in it now. Okay. So every couple of, I'd say, I don't know, 30 seconds to a minute or something like that. Once it starts doing this, it's going to start producing grubs. Okay, now you've probably seen them out and around in the world. If you're like running around the field, you'll see like this little purple, pinkish white bug on the ground. And you pick it up and that's a grub. Okay, those grubs will be passively growing. Here we go. Right there, fat grub. They will passively create fat grubs as long as there's 1 compost in here forever, and they don't spoil. Well, they do spoil when they're in here, but they produce them so quickly because it takes 10 minutes for 1 grub to spoil, and as you can see, after 30 seconds it just produced 2 grubs. So in another 30 seconds it'll produce a 3rd grub. So once you, like, I think it's after about 15-20 minutes, you'll have a stack of grubs. You just pull these grubs out and then you take them. So I'll just wait until this thing is done. It should make a 3rd grub here in about 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. There we go. 3 grubs. So we'll grab that, and there should be 3 grubs in here. So we'll take that out, so that gives us 6 grubs. So we'll come down here to the fish trap, and then we'll put the grubs in there. And as you can see, boom, it's now making 6 fish, and it's producing them just like it was with the insects. But the only difference now is with the fat grubs, you have an endless supply of fat grubs. Every 30 seconds it'll just keep producing more and more and more. So you get 2 grubs a minute, and then yeah, that's it. That's all you got to do. You just rinse, repeat, and just keep doing the process. As long as you keep one compost in here, and then obviously we're going to need more compost, so we're going to need more spoiled meat. So for the sake of the episode, we're going to go in and get some more putrid meats, not spoiled meat. So I'm just going to open up my admin panel. And we're going to grab a stack of putrid meat, which is just 25, not a whole lot. And then I'm just going to put it in here so it'll make some compost so we can have at least a few extra pieces of compost. Okay. And then while we're waiting on that, I'm going to go into my tool, my hammer here. We're going to go back to farming, and then we're going to need to grab some bricks to make the pots for your gardens. Okay, now this is a little less of a needed feature right away at the beginning of the game. This actually comes in handy more later, towards like mid-game or even end game. So we're only going to make one right now. Okay, so I'm going to bring it outside to where we already have our compost heaps, and then we'll stick one right there. There we go. So now you've got your little pot right here, and we're going to come over here and we're going to grab just one of these. There we go. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to stick it in there. Now you're going to need a seed and one compost. So we already got one of these. Like, we already have one seed from the actual seed. So we'll take it and we'll throw it in there. Boom. Now it is growing fiber. And that's literally all you do. Now, once you start getting to things like lotus seeds and stuff like that, those will require more advanced compost with more advanced pots. But this is basically the beginners of how you start the whole process. Obviously, you can farm fiber faster than you can grow it, but I guess if you're in a pinch and you don't feel like leaving your base, or you're in a place where it's a little bit harder to get fiber, I guess this could come in handy until you get like you have access to a teleporter or a sorcery teleporter with a southern base that has quick access to something like this as well. So we're going to let that tick off here real quick. And there you go. It made 10 fiber. And once it does that, it will grow into a fiber plant in that pot. And it will always look like the resource that you put in here. But the second you take it out, it disappears. Yeah. But there are decoration ones that are permanent, that are just for decoration, that you can place down if you want to decorate your base. But yeah, even if you put it back in, it will reappear. So yeah, and that's how that works. Pretty neat. All right, so that should cover fishing and gardening. So we're going to come down here and grab the fish that we've gotten so far from doing that. And as you can see, we have 8 grubs. So we now have 16 grubs. So yeah, you could build like multiple composts. You can build like 10 composts in like sets of 2s or sets of 3s and stack them on top of each other. And then just like come through and grab tons of grubs to fill up your fish traps. All right, I think I'm going to do the shellfish trap this time, so we can show you guys what the shellfish ones look like. All right. All right, so now we're going to come over here to the... actually, hold up. Let's hold up on that, because I wanted to talk about the general. We're going to talk about... Where is it? Ah, there it is. It's under alchemy. We're going to talk about the fluid press. So the fluid press takes 25 shaped wood, 10 twine, and 10 bars. Okay. So let's grab 25. We don't have enough in there. Oh, it said 10 bars. We did have enough. What am I talking about? There we go. Let's get that done. All right, so let's grab the fluid press. I'm actually going to put the fluid press in here because it's more valuable over here. We're going to open up our door, close it, and then we're going to kind of kitty corner it right about here a little bit, just to give it a little bit of a fancy look. All right, so now we're at the fluid press. So what is the fluid press good for? Well, the fluid press does a few things. So first and foremost, we're going to put the unappetizing fish in here. 8 of them does nothing. All right, let's do 5 of these. So as soon as I put 5 of the savoring fish in there, it made 1 oil for those 5 fish. Yeah, cool, that's awesome. And then let's put 5 of these guys in here. Okay, well now I'm getting 1 oil for each one of these. So with the exotic fish, you get 1 oil per exotic fish. So I just got 5 oil. So there you go. There's a feature right there that they're good for. So yeah, that's nice. And then, hold up. There should be done with most of these by now. So let me go down here. Yes, awesome. So I'm going to take all those out. All right, so let's go up here and let's put the exotic shellfish in. Oh, well, that doesn't do anything. Savoring shellfish? Nope, that doesn't do anything. And of course, unappetizing doesn't do anything either. Well, the shellfish actually are better to be put in here. So if we take the exotic shellfish and we cook them, you get cooked exotic shellfish. We put these in here and cook them. You get cooked savory shellfish. And then we put these in here and cook them. And you get those. So these things are good for accuracy food, if I remember correctly. So you do get these. So you can't really squish these up. So you can either A, throw them out, or B, cook them in the pot. Now, in the past, a long time ago, if you put them in here, you used to get... oh God, what was it called? Ichor. Used to get ichor for doing it, but they removed that ability a long time ago, I believe. All right. So that covers all of that for now. I think that's probably the deepest I'm going to go in. Now you can also take seeds and put them in the fluid press as well, and that will also give you oil. You can also get oil from grinding up seeds as well. And then you can also put like the heads of creatures that you get. So it's like, say you get a gazelle head or an alligator head or a caribou head or a shellback head or something like that. You can come to the fluid press and put it in here. And that will give you, it'll give you blood, which is what you're going to need to make the learning potions, like the potions to reset your attributes and stuff like that. And things of those natures. Now, the best way to get heads is to actually use a hatchet. Let me see if I can get a gator head here real quick. So let's kill this gator real fast. All right, so if we pull out our hatchet, and this is the best way to get a head. Let's see if we actually get one. Nah, unfortunately, we didn't get one that time. Although we did get a ton of bones, so that's nice. And more fangs. I was kind of hoping I'd get a head from doing that. But you can also take, like, let's say you have a bunch of babies, right? And they all die or they spoiled after 24 hours. You'll get corpses. Let me see if I can actually show you guys here real quick. Okay, not corpses, carcasses. There we go. So you get carcasses for, like, if something dies. So let's say like an animal that you tamed died, you'll get a carcass. Or a creature that you tamed, well, as your horse dies and you chop it up, you can get like a horse carcass or something. So I'm just gonna, like, for shits and giggles, I'm gonna spawn in this horse carcass real quick. Where did it go? All right, so I spawned in a horse carcass. Okay, so your horse dies, you get you chop up your horse and you get a horse carcass. Okay, and then you can come over here to the fluid press, and you can put that carcass or that animal head into the fluid press, and it will grind it up for you. As you can see, you now got bones and blood. And this also works with heads that you get from enemies. So then you can take this blood and you can take these bones, and then you run back inside to your grinder, and you grind up all those bones that you just got from all those carcasses and heads, and you get more bone meal. And then you bring your blood over to your alchemy bench, and you put your blood in your alchemy bench, which then you can use to make your potion, well, at least your potion of blissful memory, which resets attributes. And then all that bone meal you've been getting, so we'll just take I don't want all of it, so we'll just take 100. We'll take 100 of that bone meal, and then we'll throw that bone meal in here, and that will allow you to make your potion of natural learning. Okay. And then of course you need your yellow lotus flowers, and you need water-filled flasks. And then that brings me to my next thing. So all those flasks I've been getting, I'm actually going to grab these as well, that blood. So how do you get a water-filled flask? Well, you just come out to the water. Well, this is one option. The other one is you can do it from the bench. You come out to the water and you just right-click on your empty flasks, and they become water-filled flasks. Pretty simple. And then you come over here, and you throw the flasks in there with your blood. And then you can now make your potion of blissful memory for your attribute reset, and potion of natural learning for your knowledge reset. I'm not going to do that because these potions disappear very quickly. And to touch base on the yellow lotus potion, this potion now gives you a 2-hour stamina buff. It only gives you 10, which isn't really worth it. I think they should buff it up to like 50 to actually make it worth it. Other than that, yeah, that's about it. So that covered fishing, gardening, and a little bit into alchemy. How you get bone dust and how you get blood. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all I wanted to cover for now on those. That's like the basic and the simple stuff. Nothing too fancy or crazy. The other thing you can do too is once you learn like the large well, the large one that's like the size of this building, you can actually stick your fish traps inside of it. So if you live in a place where there's no water, you can still get access to it. But that's more of advanced tips and tricks type situation. I'm not going to cover that right now. Yeah, and I think, yep, I think that's it, guys. I think that's all I'm going to cover for today. So, and I will put together a guide and cover armor and weapon enhancements, and the casting table, or not the casting table, but the tinker's bench, how to make your enhancements. Oil is going to be a big thing for enhancements, so you have to make sure that you have the ability to get oil and all that fun jazz. So hopefully this guide was helpful to you guys out there that were trying to figure out how to get bone meal, how to get blood, as well as how to set up your fish traps in your gardens. The best way to get bugs and insects for your garden, like I said, best way to do it is the compost heap. You know, we already got 20 right here already, and like I said, it just passively does it. It just never ends. If you're trying to get oil, you know, you just want to throw your bugs in here into your fish traps, because then you can just take your fish up here and you can grind your fish to make oil for yourself. Or you can just take your seeds, throw your seeds in there. It takes 20 seeds per grind and you get 1 oil per 20 seeds. Nothing too fancy with that. Pretty self-explanatory, works great. And yeah, well, anyways, guys, as always, if you guys liked the video and you thought it was helpful and informational, please don't forget to hit a thumbs up. If you would like me to do a more in-depth guide into something specific in the video, please don't hesitate to ask me down below. Remember, always be respectful, and I will see you guys in the next guide video. All right, take care, and I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.